Welcome to True Crime Threads, where we unravel chilling stories that blur the line between obsession and murder. Today we delve into the twisted tale of a nanny and a husband's deadly affair. In a quiet suburban neighborhood, the Johnsons appeared to have the perfect life. Alex and Claire Johnson, a married couple with 2 young children, lived in an elegant home with well-kept lawns, the kind of house that neighbors admired from afar. From the outside, it seemed like the embodiment of family bliss. But like many seemingly perfect lives, there were hidden cracks in the foundation. Alex, a successful lawyer, had spent years working long hours at the office, and Claire, a stay-at-home mom, was dedicated to raising their children. However, their marriage had lost the excitement it once had. What started as passionate love had turned into a routine of shared responsibilities, mundane conversations, and growing distance. Alex found himself yearning for something more, something to reignite the spark that had long since faded. Enter Mia, a beautiful, vibrant young woman hired as the new nanny for the Johnson children. She was smart, energetic, and instantly adored by the kids. With her stunning looks and friendly demeanor, Mia quickly became the centerpiece of the household. The children warmed to her immediately, and even Claire felt a sense of comfort in knowing their kids were being well taken care of. But it didn't take long for Alex to notice something more. Mia wasn't just any nanny. She had an undeniable charm that seemed to draw people in, especially Alex. Her laughter filled the house, and her easygoing nature contrasted with the tension he had been feeling at home. She was everything Claire wasn't: spontaneous, adventurous, and captivating in ways Alex had not realized he missed. Slowly, as the weeks went on, Alex began to find excuses to spend more time with Mia. Their interaction started innocently enough, casual conversations about the kids or household chores. But it didn't take long for the undercurrent of attraction to build. Mia was aware of the effect she had on Alex and didn't shy away from it. It started with small gestures, lingering glances, playful banter, and moments of closeness that made Alex feel alive again. Claire, distracted by her own daily responsibilities, never suspected a thing. She trusted Mia, and Alex kept the growing tension between him and the nanny hidden behind the walls of their home. As Alex spent more time with Mia, he found himself drawn deeper into her world, a world that felt like an exciting escape from the predictable, comfortable life he shared with Claire. But Alex wasn't the only one becoming entangled. Mia had her own plans, and she wasn't simply content with being just the nanny. She had designs on Alex, and soon she would make sure he noticed her in ways that would shatter the quiet, seemingly perfect life of the Johnsons forever. As the weeks passed, Alex and Mia's flirtations grew bolder, their bond deepening in ways neither of them had expected. What began as innocent exchanges blossomed into a dangerous game of attraction. Alex found himself thinking about Mia constantly, the spark in her eyes igniting something inside him that he hadn't felt in years. He was entranced by her energy, her carefree attitude, and her apparent willingness to give him the attention Claire no longer did. The distance between him and his wife became more palpable with every passing day. Mia, for her part, wasn't just looking for an affair, she wanted more. She had realized early on that Alex's vulnerability was her key to manipulation. She could see the cracks in his marriage, and she knew exactly how to exploit them. At first, Mia kept her intentions hidden, playing the part of the perfect nanny. But as Alex grew more restless and eager for her company, Mia began to subtly test his limits, pushing him further into an affair neither of them would ever be able to walk away from. They began meeting in secret, finding places away from the house to explore their attraction. Their meetings started as small, stolen moments, lingering touches, shared glances, and secretive smiles. But it didn't take long for them to act on their desires. Their affair began in the shadows, hidden from the world and from Claire, who remained blissfully unaware. Alex's guilt was constant, gnawing at him every time he saw Claire. Yet, the pull of Mia's presence was too strong to resist. He convinced himself that it was only a temporary escape, something to revive the passion he'd lost. But as the affair continued, so did the strain in Alex's marriage. Claire noticed the change in him. He became more distant, withdrawn, and less engaged in family life. He often worked late, giving him the perfect excuse to avoid his wife. Claire tried to reach out to him, but he remained elusive. She suspected something was wrong but couldn't place her finger on what had shifted. Despite her growing unease, Claire trusted Mia, never suspecting that the nanny was the one fueling the silent tension in their home. The secret meetings between Alex and Mia escalated, and with each encounter Mia pushed further. She began to weave a web of manipulation around Alex, making him feel more and more trapped in their affair. It wasn't just about sex anymore, it was about power. Mia had the control now, and Alex didn't even realize it. As they explored their forbidden relationship, Alex began to feel like he was losing himself, drawn deeper into a world of lies and desire that would ultimately lead him down a dangerous path. Mia, having grown increasingly bored with being the secret in Alex's life, decided that their affair needed to evolve into something darker, something more thrilling. She had started to see the cracks in Alex's character, his internal conflict, and his growing obsession with her. She realized that this obsession could be twisted into something far more dangerous, something that would give her complete control. She wasn't just looking to be his lover, she wanted to be his world. One night, as they sat together in the darkened corner of a secluded cafe, Mia broached the idea that had been building in her mind. She spoke casually, almost as if she were talking about an innocuous plan for their next rendezvous, but her words carried a dangerous weight. She suggested, in a calm, almost playful manner, that the only way they could truly be together, without any secrets or barriers, was if Claire were no longer in the picture. At first, Alex didn't fully grasp what Mia was suggesting. Her words were tempting, enticing, but also absurd. Murder? It felt like an impossibility, an absurd fantasy. Yet as Mia spoke more, painting pictures of freedom, of a life where they could be together without fear, Alex found himself listening, drawn in by her seduction of power. Mia was skilled in persuasion. She told Alex that Claire had grown distant, that she had neglected their marriage, and that Claire had no true love left for him. She painted Claire as a woman who no longer cared for him, leaving Alex feeling justified in his feelings of dissatisfaction. Mia's words echoed in his mind, reinforcing the feelings of emptiness that had been simmering for years. She convinced him that Claire's life had no meaning anymore, that the woman who had once been his wife was now a mere obstacle between him and the life he truly deserved. Alex's hesitation was still there, but with every passing day, Mia's influence grew stronger. She knew exactly how to play to his emotions, how to make him believe that this was the only way forward. She promised him that the act would be quick, clean, and flawless, that no one would ever suspect a thing. She laid out a plan, a perfect scheme, designed to ensure that no one would question the circumstances of Claire's death. Alex would play his part, just as he had in their affair, pretending to be unaware of Mia's manipulation. As Mia continued to speak, Alex's moral compass began to falter. The thrill of their secret affair, the way it made him feel alive again, clouded his judgment. He was no longer thinking clearly, he was thinking with his desires, overwhelmed by the pull of Mia's manipulation. By the time they parted that night, the seed had been planted. Alex didn't yet know how he would go about carrying out Mia's plan, but something had shifted inside him. A part of him had crossed a line, and he couldn't take it back. He was no longer just having an affair, he was becoming a participant in something far darker and far more dangerous than he could ever have imagined. The evening Claire was supposed to return home from a dinner with friends. Everything was set. Mia had made sure the timing was perfect. Claire would be away, leaving Alex alone in the house with no one to interfere. Mia had carefully orchestrated every detail, ensuring that nothing would go wrong. Alex, on the other hand, was filled with anxiety. His hands trembled as he paced around the living room, the weight of what he was about to do sinking in. His mind raced, but his desire to finally be free of the marriage he had grown disillusioned with over the years pushed him forward. This was the only way, Mia had convinced him. This would be the end of everything that held him back. When Claire's car pulled into the driveway, Alex's heart raced. He had never felt so terrified, so alive in all his life. Mia, calm and collected, greeted Claire at the door with the same warm smile she always wore, pretending to be the ever-helpful Nanny. Claire, unsuspecting, smiled back and chatted for a moment before heading upstairs to change out of her formal clothes. Mia followed her inside, staying out of sight as she prepared the final step of their plan. As Alex stood by the window watching Claire prepare for bed, he thought about all the years he had spent with her, the memories, the promises made. But those thoughts quickly faded as Mia entered the room with a coldness that sent a chill down his spine. She handed him the weapon, something simple, something that could easily be explained away in the event of an investigation. Alex hesitated for just a moment, but Mia's eyes locked onto his, and in that instant he was convinced that this was the only way to get what he wanted. He followed her instructions, moving swiftly, silently. Claire never had a chance. The attack was quick, the kind of brutal violence that could have been over in an instant, yet felt like it dragged on forever. Claire's cries were muffled by the force of the blow, and soon everything was still. Alex stood over her, breathless, his mind spinning in shock, unable to process the reality of what had just happened. Mia, however, was already in control. She instructed Alex to help her stage the scene. They moved quickly, working in unison to make it appear as though Claire had fallen accidentally, a tragic incident that no one could have predicted. They carefully placed her body, positioned it in a way that would suggest nothing more than an unfortunate slip. Mia's calm presence reassured Alex as she took the lead, wiping away any signs of their involvement. They cleaned up the room, made everything look as normal as possible, and then, just as quickly as it had begun, they left the room, leaving Claire's lifeless body behind. As Alex stood in the hallway staring at the closed door, his heart pounded in his chest. His hands were still covered in her blood, but all he could think about was Mia and the life they could have now. There was no turning back. The deed was done. The days that followed Claire's death were a blur of rehearsed grief and forced normalcy. Alex and Mia tried to carry on as if nothing had happened, both attempting to act the part of the grieving husband and supportive nanny. Alex called the authorities, pretending to be shocked and devastated by the loss of his wife, while Mia played the role of the caring bystander, offering her condolences and comforting Alex. No one suspected a thing, and their lives seemed to go on, untouched by the horrifying reality that lay just beneath the surface. But as the investigation into Claire's death began, small cracks started to appear in their carefully constructed facade. The police questioned Alex extensively, and despite his best efforts to remain calm, there were moments when his anxiety showed through. Mia, ever the picture of composure, stood by his side, offering support and lending her credibility to their story. But something about the way they acted began to raise suspicion. There was an uneasiness in the air that neither of them could shake. As detectives pieced together the timeline of Claire's final hours, they found several inconsistencies in Alex's story. The accident didn't quite add up. Why had Claire been found in a position that seemed staged? Why was there no sign of struggle, yet clear evidence of blunt force trauma? The investigators grew more focused on the details, and their attention zeroed in on Alex and Mia. The connection between the two of them, though not immediately obvious, became harder to ignore as time went on. Witnesses recalled seeing them exchange strange glances, their behavior suspiciously close, too intimate for a mere employer-employee relationship. The web of lies began to unravel, and Alex found himself increasingly cornered. His guilt, which had been simmering beneath the surface, grew to an unbearable level. Mia, however, remained eerily calm throughout the whole process. She had anticipated every move, every question the police might ask. She had calculated this moment, knowing exactly what to say and when to say it. Her manipulation of Alex was complete. She had turned him into her pawn, ensuring that he was the one who would carry the weight of the crime. As the investigation gained momentum, the authorities started to look deeper into Mia's past. They discovered that this wasn't her first time being involved in a twisted affair. Mia had a history of manipulation, and soon her past caught up with her. The police uncovered evidence that directly linked her to Claire's death. The affair, the motive, and the stage of the crime all pointed back to Alex and Mia. In the end, both Alex and Mia were arrested. The affair that began in secret had spiraled out of control, leading them to murder and ultimately to their own downfall. What seemed like a perfect plan, a way to escape the confines of their mundane lives, had turned into a nightmare. Both of them lost everything they had: Alex's family and freedom, and Mia the control she had so carefully sought. The perfect crime had unraveled, leaving nothing but destruction in its wake.